Mars is very cold and dry. Scattered across the surface are many giant volcanoes. Lava covers much of the land. This was our third close read this year. The first close read was with a literary text. The second one was a poem. And so for the third one, we really wanted to focus on an expository text. Okay, so you had some time to take this passage home. You were able to look through it. You were able to spend some time with it. Okay, and then I asked you to bring back some vocabulary concerns. So we've already discussed the bold print words and the words that were underlined, but there were some issues with some vocabulary that was still giving you a difficult time. Yes? Mm-hmm. Okay, and some of those words were some of the bold print words, right? We are in day 3 for a 1 to 2 week lesson. After they had read the text a couple of times and then read it with their partner a few times, and we had a class discussion over those words that were in bold print and words that were underlined, I asked them to take the text home and read it over. And if there were still words that were giving them a difficult time, then I asked them to mark those words and then bring them back to class so that I could see if there was a general trend towards those words. If you would please turn to the third page where your questions are. I'm going to give you about, I think, 12 minutes maybe, and see how we are, to have a discussion in your group over the questions. We're not writing anything. So I don't want you writing out your answers to the questions. I want you talking with your group members about the answers to the questions. How would you go about answering these? And where am I going to find them in the text? So let's take a look at these questions and make sure that we understand what our questions are asking us. And then it's going to be up to you to have your discussion. Question number 1, describe what Mars looks like. Have that discussion. Use your sticky note to mark where you're going to find the answer to that question. Describe what Mars looks like. The reading abilities in my classroom range anywhere from a high first grade level to almost 8th grade level. So choosing a text that all of them were going to be interested in, all of them were going to be able to eventually read and discuss is challenging in and of itself, but when I find something that I think I'm excited about, they seem to buy into it no matter what. But I think they truly like having the text read to them a couple of times, whether they read at a first grade level or at an 8th grade level. But having the ability to talk to others about it really helps with their understanding of what they're reading.
Mars is very cold and dry. Scattered across the surface are many giant volcanoes. Lava covers much of the land. And the question is... Also, it says right here, it is a huge raised area. It is about 2,500 miles wide. So it's going to look like it's like 2,500 miles wide. Oh, right here. The southern half or hemisphere of Mars has no big volcanoes. We have to put many giant parts of lava are covered because in Mars it looks like many parts are covered in lava.
Like there are four volcanoes on the Great Tharsis Bulge, so probably that's why it's called Mammoth.
Because it's mostly a big raised area, so maybe it's named like that because it's really big.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea? No? But I think that's what it is. So where should we mark it?
We have two. Oh, right here where it says there are 4 mammoth volcanoes on the Great Tharsis Bulge.
Yeah? Where's that at?
Over here.
Is it underlined? Right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
How there was giant holes in Mars because of the meteoroids.
Hey, where's the word meteorites anyway?
It's right there, dug by meteoroids.
So I put it in the wrong place.
So for question number 1, describe what Mars looks like. What are you using for that?
Mars is very cold and dry. Scattered across the surface are many giant volcanoes. Lava covers much of the land. That's what we're using to give like the idea that there's a lot of volcanoes in every place, and it'll just look like dry with a lot of mountains.
Okay. Does it talk about any other features anywhere else in the passage?
Not really.
What did you find?
On number 2.
Well, why do you think not really?
Well, because like when our group we read on until we found things that describe Mars, and when we got to when we got to Mars, it didn't really say anything unless it is about 2,500 miles wide. Astronomers call this the Great Thorsus Bulge.
So you don't want to include that in your description?
Well, should we call us? I don't know.
If you say so.
What do you think? Should that be included in your description?
Yeah.
Why?
Because
It talks about another
it kind of
feature.
just
Talks about another feature. Okay.
And it has more details.
it does. It's the whole.
Then get another sticky and
You can
put
get another
one.
sticky. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So anything else that might fit under describing what Mars looks like?
Doesn't say that much anymore.
What about the southern half of the planet? Anything about the southern half?
It could be part of describing how it looks like because it's talking about how much craters there's is.
That's a pretty good.
And it gives an example of how it looks on the southern half than the northern half.
So do you think that could be used
Yeah.
to help with your description of Mars? So don't just focus on that first sentence. It tells you it's very cold and dry and there's volcanoes, but
There's a
look for some other descriptions that are showing up in the passage because they're showing up, but you have to kind of look for them a little bit.
It says some experts say that Valles Marineris was formed by a giant split in the surface of Mars. Since it is near the Great Thorsus Bulge, it may have caused by the volcanoes. Others think it was dug by a big, powerful river cutting down through the Martian soil.
But there's another question I want to ask. What? How is there a river in Mars?
True, how is there?
Oh yeah, it's strange because there's no water. It says lava. But lava covers much of the land. But I don't think
Take a picture. I know, it's so pretty. It looks like this right here is
it's like.
the river. It looks like.
I think this is the river. That isn't the river. The river's gone.
Well, since our picture's in black and white,
Yeah, we can't tell. I want to see it in color.
so we should mark this one right here since this is where.
Yeah, it's the ending. So it's
Point number 4.
There's been some discussion about, well, I think we should include this. Well, I don't think we should include this. So I want to just have a discussion with you guys about how you are attacking question number 1, because there's been some interesting conversations about what you think should be included and what you think should not be included.
Like when it says that Mars has a lot of craters, I think it should be included over here where it says that Mars is very cold and dry, and scattered across the surface are many giant volcanoes. Lava covers much of the land.
Why?
Because I think that it should be included. This should be included with the beginning because I think they should include one whole paragraph of how Mars looks like.
So you want all the descriptions of Mars in one spot.
Yeah.
That would make sense. Okay. Interesting thought. Sam?
I think Valles Marineris should also be described with Mars
Why?
because that's a part of Mars.
Is it part of the description of Mars?
Yes.
Did your group talk about that?
Yeah.
Of including the Valles Marineris as part of your description?
Yeah.
What do you want to include with your description? Just the name?
Well, the whole thing, like
Be specific. What do you want to include?
how long it is, how miles wide it is, like it includes Valles Marineris is 10 times longer, 40 times wider, and twice as deep as the Grand Canyon, and I think that should also be there.
Tomorrow, they will finish up their discussions on the questions and then begin writing out the answers to the questions on their own.
The last paragraph where it says some experts say that Valles Marineris was formed by a giant split in the surface of Mars. Plus, if it's a split, it's another feature of Mars, how it looks.
Exactly. When I talked to other teachers about Common Core, I think initially there was a fear because people didn't quite know how to approach it. I've embraced it. For me, I'm going a whole lot slower to move my students a whole lot faster eventually. I like having fewer standards to teach, but getting into the meat and the heart of the lesson finally after all of these years, it's just slowing down. It's slowing down, picking good quality literature, good quality lessons, planning your instruction effectively, and making the most out of the 10 standards instead of the 80 or so that we had before. Tomorrow we're going to go back to the text. You have your sticky notes that are already marked and ready to go, and we're going to start answering the questions, writing out the answers to our questions tomorrow. All right. Okay? Okay. All right. Till tomorrow.